Hey guys, Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist here, and today I want to talk about something that was brought up to me this morning. So, I work with an 83-year-old guy. He's an entrepreneur. He owns his own business still. He works 6 days a week, believe it or not. And between his flexibility and his endurance, he puts a lot of people who are more than half his age to shame in terms of what he's able to do versus what many of them can't. So, this morning was the first time I'd seen him in a couple of weeks. He'd went away on a trip and he just got back a couple of days ago. And it turns out that he had caught a cold while traveling. And this is something that's fairly common. If you've ever traveled on a plane or something like that, then I'm sure that you've come down under the weather with something at one point or another. But he got through his workout. He did sneeze and cough a little, obviously, throughout, but in terms of his performance, it was no worse than it usually was. He got through everything. His endurance continues to improve, and it got me thinking, throughout my life, both on my weight loss journey before that, when I was in high school as an athlete, and I decided to go to practice or play in the game when I wasn't feeling 100%. There were days where I would start exercising, I'd start playing the sport or doing whatever, and I would feel a lot better. And then there were other days where I actually felt worse. Sometimes I'd even have to stop, pull myself out of the game or stop my workout, go home and get into bed. So it really posed an interesting question in my mind. So this morning I wrote an email to my email list. And if you'd like to be on that, all you have to do is go to my website, weightlossbypete.com. And there's a download on the homepage. It's the 5 strategies that I personally use to lose 100 pounds, keep them off. It's a free report. All you need to do is put in your email. You'll get the report, and you'll also be added to my email list. So feel free to do that if you're interested. But I wrote an email to them based on, and I wrote it right after I saw this guy because I figured, you know what, he's 83. Most people, when they're older, and I'm seeing my grandmother shortly after this, she's the same age as this client, and she'll often cancel when she's feeling under the weather. And a lot of people, as they get older, tend to do that. But, this guy, like I said, he works 6 days a week. He really still has a sense of purpose. And as a result, he pushed through, and I didn't see any hindrance in his performance. I mean, we took a couple breaks here and there like we usually do, and he was fine. He coughed and sneezed a little bit, but was pretty much constrained to those times. And like I said, his performance wasn't hindered. So I came across a New York Times article from 2008, and the article cited a couple of studies that showed about 50 different student athletes at Ball State University. Apparently, one of the head trainers there had gotten sick, and he just wondered, is there any research out there about exercising when you come down with a common cold? And they got some verification to get the study done. And it turns out that all the bodily functions, the performance, everything physical from the student athletes' perspectives was the same as it would have been had they not been under the weather. Now, this is the common cold. This isn't something like a flu, something where you're feverish or you're achy. Obviously, different illnesses require different efforts. So I came across a doctor. Let me pull it up here so I can give him credit where his credit is due. Give me 1 second here. I'm just going through my notes. There's a doctor who wrote a book called The Running Doc's Guide to Healthy Running. His name is Dr. Louis G. Maharam. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And he has a couple of general rules about exercising when you're sick. So number 1, if your symptoms are confined to above the neck, so if you have a head cold, basically, then exercise should be okay. And in retrospect, when I've thought about it, a lot of the times I had a head cold and I exercised, even if I did something light like yoga, I felt a lot better afterwards. My nasal passages opened up. I didn't feel as much congestion up here. I felt a lot better. But he says, if you have a fever of about 101 degrees Fahrenheit or 38.3 degrees Celsius for the rest of the world, then you should skip the workout and get some bed rest immediately. And there are some terrible things that can happen to you if your body's already at an elevated temperature and you're pushing it to do more. You're just going to elevate your temperature when you exercise, obviously, and that's not going to bode well if you already have a relatively high fever. So again, that's 101 degrees Fahrenheit or 38.3 degrees Celsius. So moral of the story, if you do have a head cold and everything's above the neck, you don't have aches, you don't have pains, or no symptoms below the neck, then try exercising. I would still recommend doing something lighter. That way, you're still getting something in. You might be able to clear your air passages and feel a little better. But at the same time, I know it's hard to breathe. And if you're doing something intense where you're going to be really short of breath and you really need to catch your breath fast, it's probably not the best day to do a workout like that. So at least, like I said, on my end, I'll do something low impact like yoga where, I'm moving around, I'm moving up, down from different positions, but, getting the blood flowing, but it's not quite running. It's not quite a circuit training, a CrossFit style workout or an interval training style workout. It's something light. And that's what I would recommend that you do. And then if you do, though, have a fever, if you have aches and pains, you got chills all over your body, it's obviously not just above the neck, then I'd call it a day. I'd get some bed rest and I'd stay in bed until I felt a lot better. I hope you found this helpful. So like I mentioned earlier, a couple of things first. First, if you like, please subscribe to the channel. You can do that right below, right here. There's a little button right here. It says PW. Just click on that. You'll subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be doing this just about every day. I write emails to my list 5 days a week, and then I do a video and subsequent podcast on the same thing. So you can feel free to do that, and you'll get all that information right here on YouTube. Or if you're listening, you'll get it here on SoundCloud, iTunes, however you're listening to that. So that's number one. Number two, if you've been struggling with your weight, if you've been yo-yoing and you're tired of the fluctuations, you just want to lose weight, but you want to do so in a healthy, sustainable, and permanent way, then I'd really suggest you download that free report I mentioned earlier. Again, all you have to do is go to my website, weightlossbypete.com. On the homepage, there's a video and then a link down below to download my free report. It reviews the 5 strategies that I personally used to lose 100 pounds and keep them off. So all you gotta do is enter your email, you'll get that report. And like I mentioned earlier as well, you will be added to my email list. Of course, if you don't wanna be on that, you just wanna watch me here on YouTube or listen in on SoundCloud or iTunes, that's more than fine. You can feel free to unsubscribe at any time, but I just want to know that's something you're getting into as well. So I hope you found this informative. Thanks for watching or listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.